Tonight on UCentral News, Israel and Hamas officials have signed a deal to start peace plans in Gaza. Find out more next. Thought we were done with the heat? Well, think again, because heat waves have returned. Carly Torbett will have your full look at weather. And in social media, a new Lego video game not only features the famous building bricks, it's made from them. Zach Sexton has all of the details. The UCO volleyball team is hoping to get back in the saddle after their first loss of the season. Luke Underwood will let you know where you can catch their next game later in sports. All that and more happening right now on UCentral News.
Live from Central Oklahoma, this is UCentral News.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Rodriguez.
And I'm Abby Avers. Welcome to this edition of UCentral News.
Israeli and Hamas officials have signed a deal to start peace plans in Gaza. If the current agreement holds, the remaining 20 living Israeli hostages will be released in exchange for around 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, according to the Associated Press. The agreement will also lead to the withdrawal of Israeli troops, the end of the war in Gaza, and the entry of aid into Gaza. Both Israel and Hamas have agreed to elements of a peace plan put in place by President Donald Trump and his administration. This is the closest Israel and Hamas have come to peace since the war in Gaza started 2 years ago. This is still a developing story, so stay tuned into UCentral for more on the situation.
Former FBI Director James Comey entered a not guilty plea today. Comey was arraigned on 2 criminal charges related to statements he made during a 2020 congressional testimony. The arraignment follows public statements from President Donald Trump in which he called for Comey and others to be prosecuted. Michael Yoshida reports.
Former FBI Director James Comey pleaded not guilty Wednesday to charges of providing false statements and obstructing a congressional proceeding. He's accused of lying to Congress in 2020 when he was asked about leaks of classified information. The former top cop and vocal critic of President Donald Trump previously proclaimed his innocence in a brief video.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump.
Trump fired Comey in 2017 over the FBI's investigation into Russian election meddling. More recently, in a September social media post addressed to Attorney General Pam Bondi, the president openly called for the Justice Department to go after Comey and other political enemies. Shortly after that post, Trump appointed Lindsay Halligan, a White House aide who's never been a prosecutor, as an interim U.S. attorney. Her predecessor resigned following continued pressure to bring criminal charges against Comey and another Trump enemy. Days after her appointment, Halligan presented the case to a grand jury, resulting in Comey's indictment.
They are systematically going after their political enemies.
We are applying the law equally to everybody, and that means rooting out corruption.
Comey's lawyers plan to ask the judge to throw out the charges, claiming among other things that, quote, this prosecution was brought by President Trump. Arguments are set to be heard in November and December, and if the case moves forward, a trial date is set for January 5th. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida.
Well, we had a very short break from the Oklahoma heat. Carly, do we have another break coming anytime soon?
Thank you, Abby. Unfortunately, we are going to be continuing to see that warm and hot weather the next couple of weeks. Right now, partly cloudy outside, a little bit of cloud coverage, 85 degrees, winds coming in from the south at 7 miles an hour with that humidity up to 48% and making it feel like it's 87 degrees outside. It's a little muggy and that humidity is not helping with this heat right now. Looking into those allergies, tree and grass pollens have went down since last week. They were up there in the moderate range and now they're slowly getting down there, but ragweed is still going to be our top contributor today. But next week we are expecting to see some rain, so maybe that rain will wash out some of those pollens that we're seeing. Planning ahead for that day tomorrow, 7 in the morning, clear. That sunrise is going to hit about 7:32 in the morning, 65 degrees outside. Around noon, lunchtime, 82 degrees, and it will cool down and then bump right back up to around 82 degrees at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And looking ahead, like I said, that warm sunshine is staying around, so this weekend, sunny skies brighten your weekend, but meanwhile in Kansas, Bronco game day taking place. It is going to be warm and windy. And like I said, Tuesday, cold front was not around for very long, very short-lived, so we are going to be expecting to see those hot temperatures. I will have more for you later on in the show. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Carly, but no thanks for that hot weather. Ugh. Well, this afternoon, the group Students for Justice in Palestine held a demonstration today at Plunkett Park on the UCO campus. So I headed down there to hear for myself what they had to say. Here at UCO, students are lucky enough to enjoy endowments from titans of STEM industry like Boeing and L3 Harris. But with those endowments come investments, and with those investments can come ethical quandaries. One group of students, the Students for Justice in Palestine, is examining those ethical quandaries and demands action on the part of the university. Outside of UCO band practices, Plunkett Park is typically a very quiet place on campus. But today, it was filled with the sounds of protest.
Yeah, so this organization is called SJP, which stands for Students for Justice in Palestine. And we're not just like a club, we're a part of a national network of chapters across the US. And our goal is to grow the Palestinian liberation movement on our campuses. And the way we do that is by growing the BDS movement. So the BDS movement stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions. And it's the reason behind this week is because it marks 2 years of genocide in Gaza, daily bombings, forced starvation, forced displacement. So we have flags here. We have 1,000 flags here. Around 300 of them are to represent journalists. I think 231 of them are to represent students. The rest are to represent children. So that's not, 1,000 isn't even 1% of the almost estimated 600,000 people who have been killed. So the purpose of this event is to honor the journalists especially who were targeted and killed because the Zionist occupation does not want their crimes to be seen. So it's to honor journalists, to honor our martyrs, and to mark 2 years of genocide.
Although the group is still waiting for their demands to be met, they're making sure that their voices are heard. For UCentral News, I'm Phil Rodriguez.
The Edmond Police Department is seeking help from the public in order to identify a robbery suspect. Edmond PD posted on their Facebook page yesterday asking, "Can you help identify this suspect?" The suspect was allegedly involved in an armed robbery in September of this year. If you recognize the suspect or have any information that could lead to their arrest, the Edmond Police Department is urging you to call the number 405-359-4425. Like I said, that weather, it's really killing me. I wish we had some cold weather coming up.
Too hot, all these pumpkin patches and pumpkin spice, but not pumpkin weather. Maybe some more coming up next. We'll find out from Carly.
The University of Central Oklahoma grows and thrives. We move to meet our students where they are and get them where they want to go. Over time, thousands of students have made the move to UCO. They come to pursue their passions and find their calling, to improve their lives, families, and communities. UCO moves and motivates students in and out of the classroom. Here, potential takes flight. Our students' curiosity ignites a spark that fuels transformation. Oklahoma's Metropolitan University, the university that hasn't stopped moving since 1890. In fact, we are gaining momentum.
This is where movement is. This is the University of Central Oklahoma.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What? I can't drive. Why? I'm high. Oh. No, you can't.
Good afternoon, Broncos, and welcome back to UCentral. Looking at our current conditions today, 85 degrees outside, sunny with a little bit of cloud coverage, winds coming in from the south at 7 miles per hour, humidity making it feel just a little bit muggy outside at 48%, and that does feel like 87 degrees, and we can thank that humidity for that. Looking at our current conditions across the state, We're all feeling that kind of hot weather. Like I said, didn't stick around for long, those cool fall temperatures. So across the whole state, we're looking at high 80s, Guymon in the Panhandle with 87, 85 in Woodward, 86 Clinton, and 88 in Altus. But going into tonight, we are going to see those clear skies. That temperature is going to drop down to 64 degrees with those winds shifting just a little bit. Still nice and breezy, but shifting to south-southeast from 5 to 10 miles an hour with that humidity bumping up and being super high at 70%. So we are going to see that temperature drop, but we are going to still feel a little bit muggy out there. And it is Oklahoma, so we do have that 3% chance of rain. Looking at across the state tonight, we are all going to cool down just a little bit. So 59 in Guymon, 64 Woodward, OKC Metro 64, and 56 is our low spot in Miami up in the corner of the state. Looking at our highs for tomorrow, we can see we are still feeling that hot weather. So we are looking at low 90s, high 80s, 83 Miami, Ponca City 89, OKC Metro, and 87 Guymon in the Panhandle. Looking at that Bronco game day forecast, we get to look at the weather in Kansas this week. Hays, Kansas, Saturday, 7 o'clock. It is going to be very, very windy. So looking at that pregame, tailgating, 83 degrees outside, but like I said, very, very windy. 7 o'clock for kickoff, we're looking at 78 degrees, and it's slowly going to drop that temperature. So around 9, 11 o'clock, 75, 73 degrees. But those wind gusts are going to be getting up to 35 miles an hour. So if we're wearing a hat, make sure we're holding on to it, but we're going to be there cheering on those Broncos. Phil, Abby, are you excited to have some fall weather come around, or are we still sticking with the hot?
I am incredibly excited for cooler weather. It needs to get here faster. What about you, Carly?
Abby, you know me, I love warm weather, but hearing us talk about it more and more, I think y'all are starting to convince me to be excited for the fall weather. Phil, how about you?
I love summer weather, but I'm tired of it at this point. We have had enough. Bring on the cooler temperatures. It's all we've been talking about this semester. Goodness. Well, up next, find out how rock legend Gene Simmons is doing.
And all of the details of the new Lego video game. Zach Sexton will have your social media update after the break.
It's time to explore, to come out and play. Our city is waiting, so what do you say? Whether daytime or nighttime, the right time is now. Finding those moments to make you go wow. Amazing new places to fit every mood. Shopping and dining. Did we mention the food? There are green parks and ballparks and water parks too. Museums, attractions, and also a zoo. The modern frontier is the friendliest place. Now is the time for your dreams to be chased.
It's the Roadway Replay.
Time for the lightning round, Brian. Let's rewind your drive to work. How far did your car travel while you checked your phone? 20 feet, 100 feet, the length of a football field?
100 feet.
Oh, sorry, Brian. In just 3 seconds on the highway, your car traveled the length of a football field.
Distracted driving? It's no game.
Hello Broncos, my name is Zach Sexton with your social media update. Rocker Gene Simmons is recovering at home after a traffic accident Tuesday. The KISS co-founder and bassist hit a parked car in Malibu. He reportedly lost consciousness just before the crash and had veered across several lanes. The 76-year-old's wife, Shannon Tweed Simmons, said he blacked out because he was on new medication and became dehydrated. First responders took him to the hospital and he was discharged. Simmons wrote on X Wednesday he is completely fine and described the wreck as a slight fender bender. Let's talk video games. A new video game not only features Lego building bricks, it was made from them. Lego Party, as the name implies, is a party game where the pieces, the board, even much of the user interface were made with Lego. The game's Lego creations had to be hand-placed by the developers, at the same scale as if they were building them with real Lego. You can jump in and customize your own Lego character, and there are hundreds of character combinations to unlock in the game. Lego Party is out now for PC, Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation consoles. Moving over into the music world, since music artist Bad Bunny was announced as the 2026 Super Bowl halftime show performer, the artist has been the talk of the music world, following the controversy of ICE potentially being at the Super Bowl. Since the announcement that he would be doing the Super Bowl halftime show, he has seen a 26% increase in on-demand streaming platforms. This is also following him hosting the season premiere of Saturday Night Live and openly making jokes about his upcoming Super Bowl halftime show performance. He is continuing to stretch his influence through many outlets ahead of his performance in February at Santa Clara. Broncos, it's time to talk some movies. Hollywood star Channing Tatum is entering a somewhat more serious role in his upcoming movie, Roofman. The movie, a crime comedy, has Tatum starring as Jeffrey Manchester, a McDonald's thief who would rob McDonald's franchises by cutting through their roofs. Jeffrey Manchester, who Tatum is starring as, is a former U.S. Army Reserve soldier that later turned to crime. Some co-stars include Kirsten Dunst and Peter Dinklage. This movie hits the box offices tomorrow, October 10th. Broncos, hold your horses. There's another movie coming out tomorrow. Kiss of the Spider-Woman is the latest musical film adaptation. This movie is modeled after Manuel Puig's novel in musical versions of his book. Jennifer Lopez is taking on 3 roles in the movie: Spider-Woman, Ingrid Luna, and Aurora. This version is more explicitly following the queer romance between Melina and Valentine, fully embracing themes that past versions did not. How will Jennifer Lopez play in 3 separate roles? Find out. It will be in theaters tomorrow, October 10th. Abby, it seems like we have an amazing weekend full of movies. Are you watching any movies this weekend?
There's not really any new movies coming out that are like my vibe, but I am rewatching Stranger Things right now to get ready for the new season coming out. What about you, Zach?
Abby, I'm probably going to watch Avengers Endgame for the 100th time. Phil?
That's a good one. I think I need to go check out One Battle After Another in theaters if I can convince my fiance to go.
Thank you, Zach. Coming up, what is happening with the UCO volleyball team?
And when is the next time we can expect the UCO football team to be in action? Luke Underwood will have all of your sports stories after the break.
Rugged, rough, built for the road ahead. Sometimes I feel like a shell of a man.
Commercials are fake. What you're feeling isn't. Call or text 988, Oklahoma's mental health lifeline.
Did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
The University of Central Oklahoma grows and thrives. We move forward, daily living the Bronco way, being reflective of our neighborhood, community, history, and Oklahoma. This is what has made us who we are. Oklahoma's Metropolitan University, the 3rd largest university in Oklahoma. This is where movement is. This is the University of Central Oklahoma.
Hello, hello, Bronco Nation. I am Luke Underwood, and let's get straight into your Thursday sports stories. The UCO volleyball team will be back in action tomorrow and Saturday. The 17-1 UCO Broncos are going to be hosting the Northwest Missouri Bearcats. This will be the first match back after the Chos suffered their first loss of the season to the Central Missouri Mules. The Broncos versus Bearcats will be live tomorrow night at 6 p.m. at the Hamilton Fieldhouse. And on Saturday, the Broncos will be back in action again, this time hosting the Missouri Western Griffins. The Griffins just missed out on the top 25 poll, so the Broncos will for sure have to take them seriously. The Broncos versus Griffins will be Saturday at the Hamilton Fieldhouse, live at 2 p.m. The UCO women's soccer team is back on the road again. After the Broncos went on the road last week, they will continue to rack up mileage, this time heading to battle Fort Hays State. The Tigers are one of the worst teams in the MIAA with a record of 2-6-1, which is worse than UCO's, which is 2-4-4. This match will start at 7 p.m. And on Sunday, the Broncos will once again be traveling to another MIAA opponent, with this time it being Nebraska Kearney. The Lopers currently boast a record of 2-4-3, which is quite similar to the Broncos. The Lopers versus Broncos will start at 1 p.m. on Sunday. The UCO volleyball team will be heading out of Edmond Saturday and will be headed to take down Fort Hays State. The Broncos are coming off a devastating loss last week against the Central Missouri Mules, which ended in a final score of 35-34 in favor of the Mules. The Broncos will have to shake that off, as Fort Hays is no slouch. The Tigers were ranked number 20 on the D2Football.com polls, and when you add that to the Broncos' away game record of 0-2, it will take a lot of courage and willpower for the Broncos to pull off the victory. The Broncos versus Mules will be kickoff at 7 p.m. It is now time for your weekly NFL news update. The turning table that was Week 5 of the NFL season is gone, and now Week 6 approaches. Many upsets occurred during Week 5, with many Super Bowl favorites, including the Rams, Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles, all losing to worse teams. The latter of which will be in action tonight, taking on their NFC division rival, the New York Giants. The Giants, who are currently 1-4 on the season with their only win coming from beating the Patriots, will have their hands full with the current reigning Super Bowl champions. This match can also be known as the Battle of Saquon, which references the current Offensive Player of the Year, current and former teams. The Saquon Bowl tonight will start at 7:15 p.m. live from the MetLife Stadium in New York. The Bronco volleyball team is unfortunately no longer undefeated and will definitely need some moral support. Abby, Phil, are you guys going to be cheering on the Chos tomorrow?
I'll absolutely be watching, keeping track on the scorebug on Bronco Sports, just like I did for that last matchup, much to the chagrin of my fiance. What about you, Luke?
I kind of have a similar answer. I can't watch them in person, but I definitely will be cheering them on from afar, looking at that score. How about you, Abby?
Of course I'll be cheering them on. What? How could I not?
Right. Abby, not cheer people on, not go to games? What?
Thank you so much, Luke.
Thanks, Luke. Coming up, what World War II vet is coming home?
And Carly will have your last look at weather.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Expanding horizons, making room for the new. The modern frontier is ready for you. There's more to discover, more fun to be found. Our city is rising, just look around. Attractions, adventures, excitement and thrills. Rooms of beauty and history where knowledge is filled. A convergence of cultures in spectacular places. Open skies, open minds, and wide open spaces. The modern frontier awaits you to embrace it.
An email was sent out to UCO faculty, staff, and students yesterday about mandatory anti-hazing training. Hazing is when a person joining a group is pressured into performing tasks that humiliate or degrade them. On college campuses, the practice is often associated with fraternities and sororities. The Stop Campus Hazing Act of 2024 created new requirements for college campuses in an effort to prevent hazing. Part of the requirements is that all UCO students, faculty, and staff must complete anti-hazing training that is available through the UCO Learning Center by December 31st, 2025. Well, it's time for that last look at weather. Carly?
Thank you, Abby. Looking at that 7-day forecast, like I said, warm weather. Temperature we're going to see for this next week or so. Friday, Saturday, both in the low 90s, sunny outside. We're going to see a little bit of cloud coverage, 88 degrees on Sunday. And then Monday, we are going to cool off just a little bit. We're going to get a little bit of rain, 46% chance, and we are going to cool down to 76. But we are going to go right back up into the 80s, almost 90s. Tuesday, have a little bit of cloud coverage. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, both highs of 88 degrees and no cloud coverage, so very sunny outside. We are almost to that 5 o'clock mark. So looking at our hourly forecast, 5 o'clock, super sunny, still 85 degrees outside. It's going to cool down just a little bit, hitting that sunset around 7:21, sunny outside, 80 degrees, and it's going to cool down as we get further into the evening. Clear skies, 75 degrees, and we're going to be around 64 degrees later on late tonight. And then planning that day tomorrow, 7 in the morning, clear, 65 degrees, and then 7 p.m., sunny outside, 82 degrees. That's all I have for you today. Back to you guys at the desk.
More than 80 years after his death, a World War II soldier has been laid to rest. Second Lieutenant Blaine Wilcox was killed in action over Europe, but his remains were only recently identified. A funeral was held for him Tuesday in Iowa, with his relatives in attendance. Katrina Markell has the story.
81 years to the day, Second Lieutenant Blaine Wilcox was killed in action over Europe. His remains were laid to rest next to his parents. I'm Southwest Iowa neighborhood reporter Katrina Markell in Glenwood. Wilcox was a bombardier on a B-17 during World War II, shot down over present-day Poland and buried in an unmarked grave. Niece Lois Astrop is his closest surviving relative and one of only a few living family members who knew him. She remembers her uncles playing catch, and Lois was the ball.
One time one of them missed and I went out the window.
Since learning the news that her uncle's remains were identified by the forensics lab at Offutt, Astrop told me she's been thinking of her grandmother, who lost 2 sons in the war, and her mother, their older sister.
Well, if my mom could be here and see what's happening, she would just be unreal. It's just things don't happen like that very often.
In fact, the family first thought calls from the military about Wilcox's remains were a hoax, says Doug Astrop.
Mom would mention that she's had these phone calls, and we'd say, well, I don't know if they're true or not, you know.
Even for experienced funeral home owners, Georgianne and Roger Williams, caring for the long missing remains was something new.
They chose today because that was the day that he passed away.
We immediately realized that if we could work that date out, it was only fitting.
Family, spread out over several states, reunited to bury a relative most never knew.
It's wonderful, but it's too bad he's not here.
As an Army Air Corps officer, the service was conducted by the Army with participation from the American Legion and Patriot Guard riders. In Glenwood, I'm Southwest Iowa neighborhood reporter Katrina Markell.
That's all the time we have for today. I'm Abby Avers.
And I'm Phil Rodriguez. Have a good fall break, Broncos.